I'm not angry about it.
Do you want to be in a bubble with me? A cuddle bubble? Okay, have you got... Well, I don't want to be in compliment corner over here. You've got a wonderful laugh. It really lights up the room. Sorry I'm in compliment corner today.
No, I like you very much. You've got a wonderful smile and face.
Thank you. Oh dear, Psychic Sue. She's a bit of a misery gun today.
Oh no, I wish I'd known.
I said, are we all going to be okay? And she says, no, not.
God! Oh God, Psychic Sue. Okay, are we... I don't even want to double down. Psychic Sue, are we all going to be happy?
Well, I don't think so, but are we... We can't all be happy anyway.
Why did you pull me into this darkness?
Okay, will it be okay in the end?
Yeah, okay.
How do you spell it? Okay, will it be okay in the end? Yes, definitely.
Oh.
And that's true.
There you
I'll
go.
show you that.
So what did she say wasn't... Will we be alright?
Are we all going to be okay? No, but in the end
In the
we
end,
will be.
okay.
And it's always okay in the end. And, you know, we have to go through suffering to know ourselves.
Sure.
To truly know what's important.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, or what is your family?
As a...
Why are you doing comedy? This is a subject.
Oh. Yeah, good question. I think... well, I think on some level, it's probably more... I always think, why I do comedy is because I don't think I'm well. And so me doing comedy is saying, is this normal?
Oh.
Am I normal? Is this normal?
Yeah.
I think. But I think that comes from...
I think you're as well as a spring. A spring well.
Yes.
I think you're well.
Well, and that's what you keep heckling whenever I do stand-up. You seem well.
I think you get weller with time as well, but I think stand-up helps you get weller.
I think so, yeah.
Because you work it all out and you think, oh yeah, people, that's interesting, because if you think, oh, are these thoughts normal? And then you share it on stage with strangers and they laughing, chuckling away.
Yeah, either they laugh and... It's either, yeah, we all think that, you're fine. Or, no, you're fucking mad, but we don't mind it.
Yeah. Oh, I won't ask you again, but I tell you who will, it's Alan de Botton. That was Luke on keys, if you can believe. Alan de Botton. Okay, it's now time for Alan de Botton. Something to say.
Oh, we're all big fans.
Yes. Although this might not be.
Is Alan de Botton? Why not?
Because I always leave the cards at home.
Hey,
It's one of the things I do.
Right.
Accidentally.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my tarot cards, I've got my angel cards, but I ain't got my Alan de Botton cards.
Right.
So I've just lifted these from Esther Perel, who I love so much. Okay, so I have lifted these from Esther Perel.
Okay.
But we use the same thing about Alan de Botton.
Why don't you do a new thing? Because it's the 100th episode for Esther Perel. She'll make you feel well.
Yeah. As we sing it together?
Yeah. Esther Perel, she'll make you feel well.
Who is a person who doesn't know they've impacted your life, but has?
I got an answer for you.
Go on.
When I was growing up in Sutton, there was a UCI Cinemas.
I've got a UTI.
Yes, the UTI Cinemas.
Yeah.
For people who've been having a bit too rigorous in the bedroom and need a break and want to watch films. UTI, 6 screens, one of the first multiplexes in the UK. And I loved it. And there was a man, and in hindsight, I do wonder, was he... And I remember he liked films like I liked films, but he was funny and he had quite a dark sense of humour. And I remember him making a joke about... I was with a friend and there was cancer in her family, something like that. Anyway, he made a joke about cancer, and I remember going, can't make a joke about that, did it? And I said, it's horrible. And he said, yeah, it's horrible. That's why you have to make jokes about it, because how else do we cope? And I was like, huh. And I always think about that guy, and I spent a long time, he was like the first funny skinhead I knew.
Yeah.
and I definitely think he probably had some influence on me, and I think about him. I used to see him every weekend, and now I've no idea where he is, what his name was, and if he's dead.
That's quite nice, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might have been a pedo. I was very young.
No, I bet he wasn't. I bet he was just...
Because I think I used to sneak...
Sorry, that's Esther, not me.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What's my experience? I'm often late. That seems disrespectful to people, doesn't it? I mean, that's not my worst, but it's not a great one.
Yeah, but I suppose we'll keep it light.
Sky Showtime giver dig de største præmierer. Åbning kl.
Historien om Coop og eksklusive serier. Sylvester Stallones 12-serien og den anmelderroste Yellow Jackets. Kun på Showtime. Stream nu for kun 69 kroner om måneden. Hej, det er Anne og Karen fra podcasten Skin. Vi har netop lanceret 3. sæson af vores podcast om hud, hår og kroppen og videnskaben bag. Den første episode handler om retinol og lavet samarbejde med Bioterm. Deres hudplejeserie Blue Therapy består af effektive anti-age-produkter, der kan tilpasses netop dine behov. Tag en hudplejetest på bioterm.dk. Er du nysgerrig på, hvilke erfaringer vi har gjort os, og vil du vide mere om retinol, så lyt med.
Now, what are arms for if not for snuggling? I don't know if I asked you on the first one.
Yeah.
If you had a best, worst, or weirdest cuddle.
You did, but I can give you
Different answers.
different answers, I suppose.
You've lived a life since then.
Yeah. Well, on the subject of like touching and cuddling and stuff, I saw Bridget Christie the other day, I had a gig with her, and I was so excited to see her. I haven't seen her in so long, and I really love her. And I hugged her really big, and we had a really big hug. And then we went, I'd just been on, I came on stage, we had a big hug, and then she was going to go on after there was a break. We were in the break, and we were sat there, and then she stood up, and I just hugged her again. But I suddenly felt, as I hugged her, like, oh, that was inappropriate. Like,
You had your hug.
I'd had my hug.
Your hug.
I think I overhugged.
Wow.
And she didn't say anything, but I just had a sudden vibe, like, oh, that was too many hugs.
Yeah.
That was one hug too many.
Yeah, it's
And
weird.
of course, because I hadn't seen her in a very long time, I know what our relationship is. I just instinctively hug her, and then thought, oh, you've hugged too much.
I don't think
Pretty Christie. And maybe two in the space of 2 minutes is too many.
it'd be funny if I got Bridget on the podcast and she said, weirdest cuddle?
Yeah.
Freckles.
Yeah.
2 in a row and 5 minutes later. We just had a low breath. Get your monkey nose off.
Good well-being, good well-being. I'd take it. I'd be like, yeah, no, I deserve that. I overhugged.
From cradle to podcast, with a true listening, because with our hearts. Okay, last one.
Yeah.
What do you think life's all about?
I'm
serious one.
You want a serious answer? I'm going to give you this answer, and I'm sure I've said this somewhere else, maybe. Is that okay? And it comes from the film Groundhog Day, which you've probably not seen.
I've seen it again and again. That's such a hack joke.
I'm proud of you, though. I read this book by the writer of Groundhog Day, about the making of Groundhog Day, and he basically said it's sort of one of them things, biggest hit of his career, biggest thing, and everyone kept sort of afterwards going, can you write that affected people so much? And then he was like, he's looking back at it. Anyway, he says, what Groundhog Day is different every day is how he reacts to it, Bill Murray. And as the film goes on, he starts reacting positively, not being affected by this, affecting this. And the little ripples that he does through the whole town, through his day, is what makes Groundhog Day a good day or a bad day. It's entirely on him, how he deals with exactly the same stuff every single day. And that, I think, is why all this darkness is in the world, all this stuff that we're scared of, all this thing going on, it's up to each of us to make our tiny ripples of positive, of nice, of kindness, and it spreads and spreads and spreads until the whole planet is one big ball of light and we move to another sphere.
That is beautiful. Wash out your yogi pop. It is though, isn't it?
In a way.
In a way. That's beautiful, actually. Well, you've done ever so well. You really have.
So quick these. I wish they were longer. Can you come up with some more stuff? This is the 100th episode. Should be longer.
Yeah, it should be longer. What do you want me to ask you?
I don't know, anything. Just want to be here. Don't make me go home. Next question. Would you rather die falling out of a plane?
Yeah.
Parachute doesn't open.
Oh
Or
God, I don't like that one.
doing a sort of stunt motorbike jump, really impressive, but you crash and die?
I guess, can I say neither?
No, you have to pick one, I'm afraid.
Can I be 80 then?
Yeah?
Oh, motorbike on the 80. What a way to go. Legend. Go into a ball of flames and go,
Yeah.
you know, what does she expect? She's not got a mobility. But I'm on a mobility scooter. You?
On a ramp. I'd fall out of the plane. I'd love to. That's how I'd like to go, to be honest.
And that's where we're different. Well, we're going to do a stunt show, aren't we?
Yeah, I think that's why I was thinking of that. I was thinking, if we die on this stunt show, how would we like to go?
Well, I don't think we'll die on the stunt show because we're going to have people around us that are
trained professionals.
Yeah.
If anyone's listening from a production company or the cinema, I always wanted to be a stuntman, and I also thought I'd like Lou to be my stuntman.
Yeah, off I go as well.
And I thought maybe there's a show in us being stuntmen.
Yeah, jumping off. We like jumping
off things. And
as I get older, I get more scared.
Yeah, that's good though. Good stakes.
Yeah.
Good for the audience.
On the fun fair rides, Ben, you're like this. I get more scared these days, and I find myself sort of praying to the angels quite a lot.
What's it gonna be?
Didn't used to do.
No.
On the one at Tivoli Park that just goes up and down, but it goes.
I love an up and down.
It drops.
Yeah, love it.
My heart's in my mouth, and I'm praying to the angels 24/7.
You know, me and Mavis Martin went to Universal Studios Tower of Nightmare Nights, Nights of Terror or whatever it is.
Lovely.
And very scary, lots of things jumping out at you.
Yeah.
Lots of very impressive actors actually, because they run at you with knives and axes, but they don't hit you.
Hello, you're through to Pegasus Lifestyle Management. How can I help? Great. The aircraft is waiting for you at our nearest airfield. We trust you'll be happy, madam.
I got that wrong. Apparently never. Very impressive.
Wow.
Anyway, you go through these mazes, haunted mazes, and shit jumps out at you in the maze, and it's very loud, and the sign will jump out at you. And there's a bit, so as we were with this group of people, it was all women and me and May, and they go, Brett, you go at the front, and me and May are at the front, and we're like arm in arm, walking ahead through this scary maze. And a thing jumped out this side of me, and I throw May against the wall, and I jump on them like they are a bomb, and I'm sort of protecting the world from the bomb, and you can see it in this video, and I shout, Mavis! Chuck them in the wall and jump on them.
Whoa, you jump on May. So you're not trying to protect May? You're trying to...
No, my instinct is I'm protecting May, but my way of protecting May is to throw them against the wall and jump on them.
Well, that's so weird, because we had exactly the same thing. Me and my boyfriend, went to... That's it, it's not to you.
Also to me.
We went to Tivoli Park, and we went to the ghost train thing. It was so scary. And then he fell down, and his knee was bleeding because he was so scared. And then when we came out of there, everyone was looking at us like, oh my god, we didn't think it would be that scary. Because he'd got blood running down.
Oh wow, that's great.
What the hell did he do in there? There's a video of him turning me that ammunition kind of thing. And the look on our faces is honestly we've just seen. And now it's time for terrific. And now it's time for terrific specific. Are you ready for your colour type?
Yeah, have you got no more colour questions? Right.
We're going to some food.
Oh, yes.
Okay. You look to me like you wanted to kill me then.
No, I'm just sad I don't want to leave this room. I've become very codependent over the space.
But we're having food.
Yeah, but we're going to be in the same room, just three of us. Hang on, don't have to cover you. We see how it feels.
No, you saw that point. Customers are a bit listening to us.
I have, but I thought that's because you were on Zoom. I've been listening to ones we do on Zoom when you imagine cuddling them.
Oh no, that's old. You've listened to newer ones.
I've listened to all your episodes, but I'm when we're in person, I want to. She's still got it.
I'm going to give you 100 out of 10.
I'm going to give you 100 pounds and ask you to use that money whenever you need it, and anytime I can get more colours, I'll pay another £100.
Brett did actually give me £100 once not to touch it. I took it.
It's a true stuff.
The colour practice, are you ready for your colour practice?
Yeah.
Are you a bit nervous?
Yeah. I'm
like
nervous after what happened with fucking psychic suit.
Oh no, but she said ultimately you'll be fun in the end. Yeah. Okay, you are a gorgeous weighted blanket. You look good in any home, and you have a lot of spark. Yes, you're dangerous enough to set it on fire at any time. Right. Oh, that is much.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
I'm like flattered to be something that can set on fire and whatnot. I've had a weighted blanket. My experience of a weighted blanket, I'm not exaggerating. When I've like, had a nap with a weighted blanket on, I feel profoundly depressed.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Is that just me? Am I alright?
I haven't had a weighted blanket.
Right. It really sort of makes me depressed.
Right.
So it's a lovely thing to call me, but at the same time it's making me think, oh, maybe I'm a bit of a downer.
Should I change it to cuckoo?
Yeah. A wooden cuckoo that doesn't catch fire.
A wooden cuckoo. Maybe your kind of type is hot chocolate. Who doesn't want a hot chocolate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The perfect end to a day.
Yeah.
A hot chocolate. Your cuddle type is a heated
electric blanket.
Okay. Your cuddle type is a gorgeous heated blanket.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You'll look...
During winter.
Yeah, during winter.
Yeah.
You'll look good in any home.
And if someone died in my arms, they would be burned.
Burned alive.
Yeah.
No, you've got that spark. You know, you're dangerous. You're dangerous enough to set us on fire, but we take the risk anyway.
Yeah. I've also got a safety plug.
You're the must-have. It's necessary.
You're going to sweat in the morning.
You're going to sweat in the morning. Anyone would love one of these on their bed. And that's very nice.
Lily Sanders, may I say, as your biggest fan, I've listened to 98 episodes of the 100 Cuddle Club. In fact, I've probably listened to all of them. I'm just worried that, it's possible I could have missed two. It's one of the best podcasts there is. And I love that you do it. It brings me joy every day. I like talking to you every day. And if I can't talk to you, I listen to Cuddle Club, and it's like hearing you in my head. It makes me happy. Oh. Whenever I'm sad, too much of a weighted blanket to you, I whack on Cuddle Club and I feel better. So congratulations on 100 episodes. And many more as the tune goes.
Well, you're going to make an old girl cry. Thank you for coming on. I love everything you do. I love everything you are.
Yeah.
It's an honour to take 100. It's an honour just to know.
It's money well spent. I've never heard about it. Thank you.
See you at episode 200.
I'd love that.
So that was Bradley. Bradley. Big guns, big legs. Oh, hang on, he's flexing. Now, Brett, have you got a website or anything you want? Have you got a LinkedIn page?
Yeah.
Well, watch Ted Lasso, watch you. You know who he is. Stop wasting your. You could probably go and see him in a live show, and then do it now before he moves to Hollywood again. Is that okay, Ben?
Yeah. So really, that was more effort than you put in for most. I'm very flattered.
It's because you're in the room.
I really love this. I do this every week.
Oh, do check out Brett's film podcast. You probably already have, but it's absolutely excellent. It is Films to be Buried with Brett Goldstein. Thank you to the listeners of Cuddle Club. I love when you get in touch to say you like it. It warms my little heart. And I love when I see you in the street and you rush over it with tears in your eyes. That's the best thing you've ever had. No, but thank you for listening. Thank you for helping us get to 100. We are taking a little break, but we will be back at some point. Okay, love you. Bye.
Sky Showtime giver dig de største premierefilm. Oplev Jurassic World Dominion, Aliens historien om Gro og eksklusive serier. Sylvester Stallones tolvsakling og en anmelderroste Yellow Jackets. Kun på Sky Showtime. Stream for kun 69 kroner om måneden.
Lash Sensational Sky High Mascara for Legally Pure. Limitless Lash Altitude. Flex Brush. Stretches lashes to tip for limitless length and volume. Our most viral mascara. Lash Sensational Sky High. For Legally Pure.
Hello, cuddlers.
Hello, cuddlers.
My name is Ian Smith, and I'm joined by Who are you?
I'm Amy Glenhill.
Yes, that's it.
I have been a guest on Cuddle Club. It was lovely.
Oh, really?
Who gives the nicest cuddles you could ever wish for?
We are two Northerners. We've been living in London for ages, and we've missed all the Northern news. And we're looking it up. I'm going to share it with you.
It's the funny stuff, the weird stuff, the things about getting pigs off roundabouts with crisps. It's absolutely brilliant, and we've got special celebrity guests.
Special, to be fair to them. They shouldn't be doing it.
They shouldn't have agreed to do this podcast, but they have, and they've done it, and it's been a treat. It's called Northern News, and it is coming this Thursday.
That's this Thursday.
This Thursday, Northern News with me, Amy Glenhill, and him,
Ian Smith.
family. So being born is
Okay, today he is part of British culture. He's in the DNA British. I take that back. He is part of international reading culture, translated in every country, but particularly well loved in America, Australia, and the United Kingdom. Roald Dahl. Some people think I don't know much about him until you start to say Matilda, the BFG, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You'd have to be living in a hole not to know these stories. Before we talk about Roald Dahl, a couple of facts and then I'll see what you think of him. He was, as you correctly said, born in Cardiff to Norwegian parents, but he was bilingual, spoke Norwegian his whole life. He ended up going to boarding school there at Repton. He famously was in World War II. We'll talk about that in a minute because this is where his mythologizing started, where he was in a pretty bad accident in World War II. Shot down over Libya, he said. In fact, crashed his plane like a bell end, or he didn't read the instructions properly. He tells it he had this massive smash on the head which damaged his frontal lobe of his brain and took away the part of your brain that stops you saying outrageous or inappropriate things. Now, for my panel, we don't have that part of our brain anyway because we're comedians, but he had that part of the brain intact. It was removed and suddenly he just started saying weird, provocative things and writing them down. And that's when he says he became a writer. Or is it again Mr. Roald Dahl, the fiction storyteller, who thinks the sci-fi version of his talent sounds better? Who knows? He got married to American actress Patricia Neal in 1953. He began to write for children after he began making up stories from his own kids, and he realised he had a real talent for it. That, of course, came to the back of his twisted, weird, macabre adult fiction. He just had that imagination that was so suitable for children's stories. It was a life touched by disaster time and time again. His dad died young, his sister died young. Patricia Neal had a massive stroke, he had to nurse her. His son was hit by a car and she survived with his brain damaged. And his daughter as well, his beloved daughter, dropped down dead when she was 7 from encephalitis brought on by measles. He himself died of cancer in 1990, so he didn't have a lot of luck in the health department for him and his loved ones. Roald Dahl.
I liked his books when I was young, but I used to think no one else write books. Like, he was the only name that I'm dyslexic, so getting the role with Dahl in one sentence was a problem for me. So I was just like, where the hell is, like, Tim? Like, where's Tim Smith? He's got a book by a Jason. Like, I just needed a straight name, but
in that point, man, it's like, it was something that he's had and still has, and there's all these amazing authors you get, Jackie Wilson and all these like real authors that write about the issues and real stories, and they're great and everything, but there's something about his macabre, weird imagination. He's got that, so J.K. Rowling has it as well, that ability to mix the fantastical and the real. That as a kid it was just spellbinding, those stories. Did you have any contact with her? Really?
I've just recently discovered probably Roald Dahl's this macabre side of his storytelling is probably best illustrated in his writing for Tales of the Unexpected, which I've only just discovered that he wrote. And the reason I was looking for the music, because I remember the music from the show as a kid, and I was like, what is that show? What is that show? Yeah. And then through some magic cosmic confluence, it appeared on television. I was like, oh my god, that's the show! Because the music was just so hypnotizing. When you watch the shows, they are kind of oddly, like, really weird, like they're really mysterious, and then have this odd macabre endings, twist.
Me and my brother used to dance, like put the lamp behind us and dance and pretend to be the ladies. Kelly, were you a reader as a kid or a telly watcher?
No, very much so. I'm really for the reading side of it, and I think particularly with like Roald Dahl's books, he takes you somewhere and it's your imagination and what you create out of it, and I think that's a really beautiful thing that he does, is that I always find that, like with the Hunger Games, with Harry Potter, they're well-made films, but like actually they're nothing like what I imagined from the books. And when you read the book, you create the characters in your own mind. And his worlds was just so fantastical that I have such magical memories of it, and just like James and the Giant Peach and all that stuff, that really like weird universes. And I really like the macabre side of it, because I think it's I think when you mollycoddle children too much, they have no real view of the world. And like, you know, the big horrible woman in Madame Trunchbull in Matilda and things like that, like that's great. Like, have some baddies in there. Like, have some dark side to it. And I actually prefer the books to the visual. Because
we should probably just open, whoever's got envelope 1, because we're already sort of doing it. So just, Kelly, if you could open the first envelope, which I think may have some genius inside it.
Okay, so it says, beloved children's author.
Yeah, so is these... I think Kelly makes such a good point there, don't you? Yeah, we're moving to an era now. Like I've got a 2-year-old daughter. I don't know how I've grown up and that's happened, but I have. And the other night, my mother-in-law, her nana, was reading to her from this Little Red Riding Hood story I put, and she left out the bit where the wolf gets chopped in half. She's like, she's 2, she doesn't need to hear that. Well, isn't that what's brilliant about Roald Dahl, Judy, is that he scared children in the best way possible. Like, you read it and you wanted to be scared. We lost that a bit, haven't we?
Yeah, we have lost it. My kids love a lot of Roald Dahl, especially the movies, and they love it. And in fact, when you look at it now, there's nothing actually like that. That's why I'm shocked when I see them going back to the things that we used to watch and love. And I think it has been missed. Everything is so trying to keep it, just like you said, sanitized and clean cut, changing the old school stories and everything. But it's not helping the kids, because they just all believing that, you know, everything's great. And then when they go out there, like when I want mine to go, I don't want them to come back. I want them to go. But because they go out there and realise actually it's kind of rough out here a little bit, they're going to come back.
Did your parents ever scare you? Inappropriate, scary stories, things they shouldn't have told you?
God, all the time. No sugarcoating in my house. I used to watch Scum with my dad. He used to cover my eyes for the rape scene. Scum with Ray Winston. My favourite film when I was younger.
We read the BFG. No, there's a good here. There's an anal rape scene in a prison movie. I think it teaches you more about life.
He used to cover my eyes for the rape scene. I never knew what happened in that bit until I was in the teenage years.
So you were 12 when he was like, right, you can watch it now.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any sugarcoating. I think that we actually don't give children enough credit. I think that actually, I mean, watching Scum's a little bit fun, but I think that...
How are we doing out there?
I think that it's important that you shouldn't hide them from the world that we live in. We live in a very horrible world, and I think that actually allowing them to have more information and to be better informed will actually give them a more rounded and open view of what they're about to go into. And I think that wrapping them in cotton wool is just too...
And that's what I love about Dahl. He didn't just go, oh, there are bad people in the world, or there's someone that might abduct you. He used metaphors and stories so that kids could translate that. So the witches, for example. But if you look at what happens between the books and the films, they were still doing it back then. So take the witches. I don't know if you've read it or seen maybe. So witches have all got like no fingernails and bald heads, and they're all these cackling harridans. And the plot of the novel is, spoiler alert coming, that they've developed a potion that's going to turn all the children in England into mice. All of this happens in the film. And our character, our hero, gets turned into a mouse. Now in the Hollywood film version, he gets changed back into a boy at the end. In the book, he's got the close relationship with his grandma, the same as he has in the movie. His grandma researches how long mice live and breaks it to the little boy. You're a mouse now, so you've probably got like 3, 4, 5 years maximum. But that's alright, because I'm your grandma, I'm 86, so have I. And like, the end of the book is beautiful. The mouse, his heart beats 500 times a minute, coils up in the grandma's chest, to basically imply they both die at the same time. But in the movie, it's all like schmaltzy, and that's something we've lost going into film and TV culture from reading. Roald Dahl to me was genius because he could tell stories like that. So we got all these classics. We've got Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, the BFG, the Twits, Witches, Envelope 2. Let's see if we can put something else in the mix here.
It says bully.
Yes, I'm afraid he was a bit of a domineering bully. And
What, tied up, kind of?
well, a bit of a misogynist as well. The thing is with Roald Dahl, he was a big fella. He was big in every sense, 6'5", big dominating character. I suspect, from what I've read, he may have been a bit of a narcissist in the clinical sense, that he seemed to be, whenever his personality was threatened or his pride felt like it might be wounded, he had an explosive response. So someone could say, oh, I don't like the way you did that interview, and he could just delete them, I'll never work with this person again, sack them, like really cruel, over the top response that seemed to have quite a vulnerable core. After Roald Dahl's wife had a stroke, she was in a really bad way. He sort of went really over the top with, he said, it's best for them to get them up and running. You need, to force her to get back into activity. She's an actress, but he really sort of dominated her and forced her to do loads of stuff and forced her to go faster than she was ready, and seemed to not be getting off on it, but seemed to prefer to be in that position of power when it came to his wife's recovery. Of course, all the time having a series of affairs.
What you doing there, huh?
And he eventually, he was having an affair, and he eventually divorced his wife and married Felicity Crossland. His daughter, Tessa Dahl, overheard him with his mother on the phone, and he made him listen to the affair. He sat his daughter down and went, "This is what you can do. You can tell your mum and break her heart and ruin the marriage, or you can keep the secret and keep the house together." Tessa Dahl went on to have her own addiction problems and emotional problems later in life. It seems to stretch the imagination not to think that's Kennedy. That's evil.
Hello.
That alone.
What can I do for you?
That's just ruined everything.
Oh, hey, you're in trouble. Okay, I'll deal with it.
Disgusting. Like, that's whenever I think of Roald Dahl, I'm thinking of these beautiful stories and all Quentin Blake's illustrations. Oh my God!
I think Tessa, just to be clear, I think Tessa's about 15, 16. She wasn't 8, but still.
To make her complicit in it, though. No, what are you doing? Oh man, this has ruined everything. This is, it's quite weirdly though. Also, Roald Dahl actually criticised Salman Rushdie for when he published the Satanic Verses. One of the very few people to have the opinion in the Western world who had no cultural or religious investment in Islam at all, for him to go, hey, what he did was wrong. He knew that he'd be stoking, or fanning the flames of anger and offended all these people. It's quite interesting that he did that. I just find that
it doesn't make sense, because he wrote children's books with the most provocative elements in that frequently the publisher's like, you can't say this, and he's like, publish and be damned, it's good, make it funny, publish it. I've got a gynecologist raping his patient. He published stuff and didn't give a toss, and yet had a go at Salman Rushdie for stoking up. Do you not think sometimes he was just posturing for whatever was the best press? Here is a man with a track record, Julie. Says he was shot down over Libya, didn't, crashed his plane, turned that into a story. He kept making up stuff that wasn't true, pretended I was bumped in the head and led to a genius painting. He just wrote short stories, and when you were injured, you sort of had the time to start writing them. He kept fabricating. Was he really angry at Salman Rushdie, or was it just good for the press? Was this a man so immersed in fiction that he couldn't even be truthful in his everyday life? What do you think?
It was even a fantasy of his own, it seems like. It definitely a narcissist. It sounded like he was in his own world. I think obviously hearing what he did with regards to his affair and involving his daughter is a bit, for me personally, I always question where he was in his mind anyway to make such great stories. We can't deny that. They were great stories. It does make you look at him as a person and really what was going on in his mind. That whole power dynamics and pushing his wife, and she's had a stroke, leave her anyway, making up a lie that he was shot and he really wasn't. It adds to the whole, his mind, his fantasy. To be able to produce such work, you have to have an element of living in a fantasy world anyway. So maybe he just couldn't come out of that.
How much of it was him trying to myth-make the great author, when really he was just a frail human being with a cruel streak who happened to have a turn of phrase?
Well, I think he's actually probably much like yourself, Russell.
What?
I know. No, I think he's a pathological liar. I think that, much like yourself, Russell. No, but I think that if you really look at all of the facts that we've had so far, all of them point to the fact that he was trying to create almost like a life for himself, and that's what pathological liars do. They believe in themselves and their lies so much that they start to perpetuate themselves. And his daughter finding out about his affair, that's something that almost blocked him from living out this, having the two worlds and all of that stuff. It's almost like he wants to live a double life because he wants to fly over to Hollywood, he wants to do all of those things, but then he wants to be shy and retiring. And I think that it shows a very unstable personality. But then, you know, is actually usually the catalyst for creation.
There's a lot of work in it, let's not knock it, guys. You just need to get more unstable, Judy. I can help you. I'm just trying to find someone to have something with. Just having a bear on it. Alistair Reid said this, Kelly. Alistair Reid was the director of The Night for which Dahl wrote the screenplay for. He was a bully, a big, overpowering, enormous guy. He would make, he's talking about Pat, his wife here, repeat things in front of people, because after a stroke he had a weird way of phrasing things. He would make Pat repeat things in front of people and treat her like a child. It must have been completely humiliating for her. And he used to talk about her, not exactly behind her back, but as if she wasn't there.
Oh, that's like just one of the worst things, especially for someone who's become disabled.